Elijah's love for music began when he was 8 years old, the day his mother brought home an old, out-of-tune piano. Every afternoon he would play, creating magical sounds that filled their tiny apartment with joy. His mother would sit quietly, listening and smiling, her tired eyes lighting up as if forgetting the day's endless struggles. Elijah dreamed of performing on the biggest stages, and with his mother's encouragement, he believed he could. By the time he was 16, Elijah was a rising star. Community performances turned into regional competitions, and at 18, he had his first shot at a national symphony. Then it happened. One night, during his most important performance yet, his mother passed away in the audience without warning, her heart giving out just as he struck the final chord of a sonata dedicated to her. Though the applause was thunderous, Elijah could only hear the deafening silence in his chest. He never played again. Time passed, but it didn't heal. The piano became a relic of his past, dusty and forgotten, much like the grieving young man he'd become. But life has its ways of nudging us when we least expect it. A letter arrived one morning, 10 years after his last performance. It was written in his mother's handwriting. Confused, Elijah tore it open. The date at the top was from the week before she died, but it had somehow never reached him. Her words felt alive. Eli, never stop playing. The world needs your light, even when you don't feel it yourself. Be brave, for whoever listens will find hope in your music, even if that person is only you. Something inside him cracked. That's why Elijah was here tonight, sitting in the quiet, crumbling theater where he'd once practiced as a boy. He gazed down at the keys, the memory of his mother's laughter and encouragement flooding back. Pushing away the fears, he struck a single soft note, then another. They echoed into the empty theater, tentative and trembling. But soon a melody began to form, a melody packed with pain, hope, and healing. What he didn't realize, as he played, was that passers-by, you and I, the audience watching, started gathering outside the doors of the theater, drawn by the haunting beauty of the music. By the time Elijah reached the climactic crescendo, tears streaming down his face, the theater was filled, not with applause, but with an electrifying silence, the kind born from awe. All those years of silence, grief, and self-doubt had culminated in an unforgettable moment of raw, human emotion. When the final note faded, the audience erupted. They weren't just applauding his music, they were applauding his courage to face the past and step back into the light. Elijah stood, overwhelmed. In that moment, he realized music wasn't just something he gave to the world. It was a gift to himself, a bridge between his pain and his purpose. That night marked a new beginning. Elijah didn't become famous overnight. There were no sudden spotlights or grand offers from symphonies. Instead, there were quiet moments where he chose to play, to share and to invite others to rediscover hope through his music. He began hosting free concerts, teaching struggling kids, sharing his story and his mother's words to inspire them to find their own light. Elijah's story isn't just about music. It's a reminder that even when life silences us, we carry within ourselves the ability to create change, to take the first small step toward healing and rediscover our passion. When we face the darkest parts of our past, we reclaim the light and purpose that can inspire not only ourselves, but everyone around us. And the brave act of taking that step, of playing that single note, can change everything. So, what's the one thing you've been too afraid to face? What's your first note? The world is waiting to hear it. Take a deep breath and start playing.